You can spot me in the city building lobby with a sword off shot. He's screaming, drop it, this a robbery.
What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz the adult. Hey, what's better, UFC or boxing? I'm just going to jump to it, man. I'm just going to jump to it, okay? We don't have much time to fool around. First of all, I'm a fan of both, boxing and UFC. I'm going to speak from the perspective of a casual fan. The UFC is hotter, okay? It's growing faster. It's a hotter sport. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's take away what us true UFC fans and true boxing fans take from the sport. Let's just talk about as a casual, what a casual fan may see, how they may feel. UFC, the sport itself, is a savage sport. Like they always say, you can play basketball, but you don't play boxing. You don't play MMA. The main objective is to hurt someone. And the more they're hurt, the better. All right, let's keep it real, okay? If someone's knocked so brutally unconscious that they're shaking in the middle of the ring or the middle of the octagon, that's the most exciting it could be. A crazy head kick off the side of the temple and that person just drooling, that is the most exciting it can be. UFC is savage, but UFC don't apologize for it. Look at their interviews. Look at the panel, when they have the panel discussion. You talking about cussing, you talking about the middle finger, you talking about stare downs with their forehead to forehead. They're talking about punching each other, pushing each other. What Dana White and them understand is that brings more excitement to the sport because it is our instincts as people to watch something savage. We're bloodlust. Hey, look, I don't like people dying, but I've clicked on a video of a beheading just because my instincts is like, it's like a car accident happening, and you want to cover your eyes, but you're like this, okay? Because for some reason you really want to see it. That's the UFC. They understand that it's a savage sport, it's a brutal sport, and they don't apologize for it. Another thing that makes the UFC hot is, I'm sorry, the ring girls. They show the ring girls. Okay, they show the ring girls walk around the ring. They show them leave the ring. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. I know the world that we're in, especially with the Me Too movement and stuff like that, is a powerful movement. I understand that. I understand all that. But sex sells. And if you understand men are physical beings. You can't change a man. A man is what he is, okay? You can't change. I know you want a man to judge the book, but we judge the cover. So, having a beautiful woman in there and you show them is exciting for men who consume it. Now, as for women, you have two guys who are in the best shape of their lives. Obliques, they look amazing, right? And they're sitting there in their underwear fighting each other. If that is okay, then we're going to look at women in their underwear walk around the ring. It is a hot thing. It's hot. So you have a sport where two people are trying to rip their heads off. You can't wave a finger at the fact that a woman is showing some cleavage. That is insane. Here's another thing that makes it hot. It is available. You can watch it on regular network TV. They have reality shows about it. It's extremely available to where you grow. You get to know these people. You get to see them from very young all the way up. You start to gain this relationship with these fighters and you build this, hey, this is my favorite fighter. I've known this fighter from a long time. You build this relationship with them. That's a brilliant thing to do. Another thing, since it's sanctioned, you know that the best is fighting the best. There's no cherry picking with UFC. Another thing that makes UFC hotter is at the end, when the fight is over and it goes to decision, for the most part, you can trust the outcome. With boxing, you're folding your arms and you're like, hey, look, the challenger, I know he beat the champion for 12 rounds, but he's about to get robbed. Consumers can't trust the culture of boxing. So as of right now, UFC is a hotter sport for all of those reasons. But this is how boxing is coming up. Boxing is starting to show their fights on regular TV. Deontay Wilder is about to fight Ortiz on Showtime. There was a time when everything was pay-per-view, and I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money on two guys I don't know. So really, it was a monopoly. Only Floyd or Pacquiao was getting the big bucks because those were the two guys people knew. So now boxing is more accessible. Good. I saw the Showtime panel with what's coming up for 2018 to introduce that. That is good. Boxing needed to do more TLC when it came to their consumer, because for a long time, boxing didn't have a substitute. That was the fighting sport. Now they have true competition. So much so, Floyd Mayweather fought McGregor. So now they're starting to bleed into each other. And people who are boxing fans are starting to consume UFC. So now they actually have to compete. We can say they're two separate sports all you want to, but they are competing. So now boxing got to do what they have to do. So boxing, you have to fight to have the sport shown on the Olympics, okay, more often. So we can get to know these people when they're amateurs, okay, and that can inspire a child instead of playing football to choose to fight, choose to be boxers. So boxing right now has a good future because boxing is starting to wake up and do those things, especially Al Heyman. So thank you, Heyman, for doing what you're doing with your stable, having those guys compete against each other and making boxing more accessible. And you asking me, hey, ShowBizz the adult, which sport do you think is better? I think as far as a sport itself, boxing is a better sport than UFC. As far as the sport itself. But I like them both. I think UFC is a hotter sport. But if you were to ask me my opinion on what's a better sport, I'm going to say boxing is a better sport. All right, ShowBizz the adult. I'm out.
City build a lobby with a sawed-off shotty screaming, drop it, it's a robbery.